Before we begin, this story involves a building fire that killed hundreds of people, including children. It doesn't dwell on graphic detail, but the structural reality of how they died is disturbing. If that's something you need to step away from, we understand. Take care of yourself first. A woman in the upper balcony pushes through the crowd toward a door marked Exit. She reaches it. She turns the handle. It opens onto a brick wall. Not a blocked corridor. Not a locked stairwell. A wall. The door was decoration. It was never meant to open onto anything. And the building she's standing in is 5 weeks old. You're listening to The Unlit Room. Every story in here actually happened. That's the part that should scare you. New stories every day, Monday through Saturday. Today, a theater marketed as the safest in America kills 602 people in 15 minutes. And no one is ever held accountable. 24 West Randolph Street, Chicago, November 23, 1903. The EAR Iroquois Theater opens its doors for the first time. Marble floors, mahogany trim, plate glass everywhere. The advertisements call it absolutely fireproof. It seats 1,700. It's the crown jewel of Chicago's theater district. And it's been open for exactly 5 weeks when everything goes wrong. December 30th, 1903. The afternoon matinee of a musical called Mr. Bluebeard. It's 2 days after Christmas. The audience is mostly women and children, families on holiday outings, kids out of school, mothers treating daughters to an afternoon at the finest new theater in the city. 1,700 seats, every one of them full. Some accounts put the actual number higher, standees packed into the aisles. At 3:15 in the afternoon, during the second act, an arc light on the left side of the stage sparks. A piece of muslin draping catches. It's small, a flicker, nothing more. The kind of thing a fire curtain is supposed to handle. The performers on stage notice it before the audience does. A few of them glance up. The audience starts to murmur. Eddie Foy, the lead comedian, the star of the show, steps forward and tells the crowd to stay calm. He asks the orchestra to keep playing. Some of them do. Foy stays on that stage longer than almost anyone else, trying to hold 1,700 people in their seats with nothing but his voice. Y would later say he didn't know if staying on stage was brave or stupid. He just knew that if everyone stood up at once, people would die in the crush before the fire ever reached them. Micro Cliffhanger 1. He was right about the crush, but what he didn't know was that the fire wasn't going to wait. The theater had a safety curtain, the kind designed to drop between the stage and the audience and seal off a fire. The EAR Iroquois curtain was advertised as asbestos. It wasn't. It was a patchwork of asbestos, cotton, and wood pulp. And when the stagehands tried to lower it, it snagged on a wire guide. It jammed halfway down, halfway. The curtain hung there, a wall with a gap above it, open to the stage. And then someone backstage made a decision. The performers needed to get out. A stagehand opened the rear loading door, the large door at the back of the stage that opened to the alley. Fresh air rushed in. The fire, which had been climbing the muslin and scenery above the stage, now had oxygen and a direction. The physics are simple. Hot air expands. The open rear door created a wind tunnel from the alley through the stage, and the only exit for that superheated air was the gap above the jammed curtain. Straight into the auditorium. A fireball, witnesses described it as a horizontal tornado of flame, shot over the top of the curtain and into the seats. Temperatures hit 500 degrees in seconds. People in the first 10 rows didn't burn. They were killed by the heat before the fire reached them. The whole sequence, from the first spark on the muslin to the fireball, took less than 8 minutes. Micro Cliffhanger 2. But the fire itself wasn't what killed most of the 602. What killed them was the building. The EAR Iroquois Theater had been built to keep people out. Gate crashers, non-paying customers. The exit strategy was an afterthought. Some of the doors on the main floor were bolted from the outside. Some opened inward, which meant the first people to reach them were crushed against them by the crowd behind, and the doors couldn't swing open against the weight of the bodies pressing forward. In the upper balconies, it was worse. Patrons found gates, iron gates, locked across the stairwells. The gates were there to separate the cheap seats from the expensive ones, to keep gallery ticket holders from sneaking down to better sections. On a normal day, an usher would unlock them after the show. This was not a normal day. At the very top, the highest balcony had a fire escape. It led to a platform on the outside of the building. The platform had no ladder, no stairs. It was a landing 50 feet above the alley that connected to nothing. People stood on it in the smoke and looked down at the cobblestones 5 stories below. Across the alley, students at Northwestern University's dental school saw them. They grabbed wooden planks, boards, doors, whatever they could find, and laid them across the gap between the buildings as makeshift bridges. Some people crossed, some fell. Inside, bodies stacked 7 and 8 deep against the locked exits. 602 people died, most of them in roughly 15 minutes. 602 dead, the deadliest single building fire in American history. Break BF 5,243. The city charged the theater's owner, Will J. Davis, charged the building commissioner, George Williams, who'd approved the building, charged the fire marshal, who hadn't inspected it. Grand juries were convened, civil suits filed. The public demanded accountability. Every single charge was dropped or ended in acquittal. No one served a day. Not the owner who knew the fire exits weren't finished, not the commissioner who signed off on a building with no fire alarm, no sprinklers, and exit doors that opened onto walls. Not the architects who designed locked gates into the escape routes. 602 people, most of them women, many of them children on a holiday outing, and the legal system produced exactly 0 convictions. Micro cliffhanger 3. But the fire did change something. It changed everything. Within months, cities across the country began rewriting their fire codes from the ground up. Outward opening doors became mandatory. Panic bars, the push bars you see on every emergency exit, were invented in direct response to the bodies stacked against the EAR Uquoy's inward opening doors. Illuminated exit signs became required. Fire curtains had to be tested under load. Maximum occupancy laws were enforced for the first time. Every modern fire code in the United States traces a direct line back to December 30th, 1903. Here's the thing about the EAR Uquoy theater fire. You've probably never heard of it. Most people haven't. But you interact with its legacy every single day. Every exit sign glowing above a doorway. Every panic bar you push to leave a building. Every door that swings outward when you lean against it. Those exist because 602 people walked into a building that promised it was safe, and the building lied. The deadliest fire in American history is also the most invisible. Not because it was forgotten, because it was so thoroughly absorbed into the world we built afterward that we stopped seeing it. The next time you pass an exit sign, you'll know whose names should be written on it, even if no one ever put them there. If this one kept you up tonight, good. New stories every day, Monday through Saturday. Subscribe so the next one finds you too. Follow the Unlit Room wherever you listen. Tell a friend, but maybe don't tell them it's all real until after they've finished. Full story on the main channel. Follow if you're wide awake. That was the Unlit Room. See you in the dark.